Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing, joined by regulars, Mr. Ashton.
Ashton.
ASTON. Same things to the shithole. And hopefully his Wi-Fi's caught up with him. Ander, how you going, Ander? Always a bit of lag there, look. Are you there, Ander?
Just at the crucial point.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay there, Ander, so we'll work with it and see how it goes, okay? So tonight we're going to cover topics such as Queensbury's 10-0 victory over Matchroom. We're going to talk about the hype job that is Jared Anderson, finally jumping in with someone who you can describe as active and not a taxi driver. And then we're going to talk about Anthony Yard, which is a very interesting development. Frank Warren don't often lose these sort of things, but we'll come on to that later. So, Wi-Fi permitting, we'll go to Ander to start taking us through the Matchroom versus Queensbury card.
Right, well, I mean, I'd like to say, lads, I've seen the old card, but unfortunately, I was grafting at a small old show, you know, art beta boxing and all that. Great show that was, by the way. But we'll talk about that another time. So 5v5, quite spectacular from what I did see. I've seen highlights. I managed to see the Deontay Wilder fight live because I was back in time for that. It's stupid o'clock in the morning. But as Carl's just put up there, it was an absolute whitewash for Queensbury. Quite surprising, some of these. But let's go straight into it, Carl. We'll start off with what on paper, because I haven't seen this one, but on paper looked like a very good fight. Nick Ball against Raymond Ford.
Yep.
Carl, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, this was
I don't think any of us thought Nick Ball was going to win this fight.
No, I'll be honest, I didn't. It was a very good fight. Obviously, 115, 113. Eddie Hearn's got on record as saying that he thinks Nick Ball lost, which I don't agree with. Very good technical fight. Nick Ball's probably better than I gave him credit for, and I seem to be saying that a lot lately. I'm starting to doubt my knowledge around boxing, if I'm brutally honest, because, you know, I'm getting a few wrong. I'm ending up sounding like Darren Ashton. But, yeah, Nick Ball was very good, shown a lot of heart. I think they'll run this back. I know Ray Ford's talking about going up to Super Feather. I don't think Nick Ball should really rush to go up, to be honest with you. But very good fight. And if I'm honest, I don't often do the romantic view like Andy does, but he deserved it, didn't he, after the last fight? He deserved to win that world title. So maybe some big nights in Liverpool to come. There's some big fights in that division. But no, I think Ball deserved it on the night. Close fight, but Nick Ball proved it as world class.
Is Andy there? Oh dear.
Okay, Darren, let's get your views on the fight.
Yeah, Rob. I actually didn't watch this fight card live because I was at a festival, so my excuse isn't as good.
Otherwise engaged, I think we call it, don't we, Daz?
Oh, what's that, Roy?
Otherwise engaged, I think we'll call it.
Yeah. I've caught up with this fight though. Very, very good fight. Quite a highly skilled fight. Exciting to watch. I agree with you on this, Carl, as well. I had Ford. I thought Ford would win this fight, but I definitely thought Nick Ball won the fight for the cleaner work, the more accurate punch output, I would say. Lots of nice variation in his work. I was quite surprised how well Nick Ball fought in this fight. I thought it was a much more better performance than what he did against was it Vargas, the last guy? Was it? Yeah, Vargas, yeah.
Was the element of disappointment with Ray Ford though? Because obviously we broke it down the week before. I expected Ray Ford to catch him more coming in. But he was still lunging, wasn't he? He was still lunging due to the height difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I was one that went on record saying that Nick Ball was a little bit of a one-dimensional fighter. You know what he's going to do, come forward, tuck up, But I thought he looked like he had a bit more variation to his game in this fight, and I was really, really impressed with him. And I mean, Eddie Hearn went on to say after that he thought like Ford could have nicked it. Not for me. I thought it was a close-ish fight, but for me, Nick Ball was the deserved winner for the better, more cleaner work. I mean, there was a couple of times Ford caught Nick Ball, and he, perhaps he's on a bit unsteady legs. But for me, Nick Ball definitely the more cleaner work won him the fight, and hats off to him. I was very impressed with him. I thought he was a deserved world champion.
Did he run it back, Daz?
Well, I was going to say, agree with you and say I think so, but Eddie Hearn, I saw an interview the other day, said, or was it Frank Warren, he doesn't believe that there's any rematches to any of the fights that were on the 5v5, because Eddie Hearn was asked about, will any of the rematches go on the Wembley card? And when he said no, he said, will there be any rematches anyway? And he said, I don't believe so. So, but it is a fight. I think you could run it back because it was a great fight and it was closest. So why not? But it doesn't look like it is. But who knows in the future?
If the money's right, though, Daz, it happens, don't it? Let's be honest.
More than likely, yeah. As we know, money talks.
Yeah. So moving on then, I'll move on to the Willie Hutchinson fight against Spider. I'll let you give it. Is that one you've caught up with, Daz?
Yeah, I've seen not most of it. Another one, I think I got every fight wrong, to be honest. I thought Craig Richards' experience in this fight would win him the fight, but Willie Hutchinson.
I'd give myself a good talking to in the mirror after I put after this card.
But you know what though? I think there was a lot of, particularly this fight. I think there was a hell of a lot of boxing fans that thought Spider Richards' experience would win in this fight, and particularly when Hutchinson got stopped before. I think that's still fresh in the memory of people. Think, with someone of Spider Richards' experience, will this happen again? But
here's one for you. Was it a case of Richards underperforming, or was Hutchinson better than you thought he was?
Probably a bit of both, I would say. Willie Hutchinson, I've got to give him more credit than what I did. He was absolutely, he was dominant for me from what I've seen.
I would go as far, Daz, as say I thought Hutchinson was out of his depth. That was my strong feeling in this fight.
Yeah, same as me. And like I say, I think there was a lot of boxing fans because of the opponents that Craig Richards been in with. That's what it come down to. People like, Willie Hutchinson's never stepped in with anyone like this. But is it a case as well, a little bit, he's like Craig Richards, sort of, has he got loads left? I don't know. I mean, he appeared on a Next Gen show last time, Freddie Hearn, again, is he at the very top level, like, sort of reached his limit and that's it? But I don't want to take anything away from Willie Hutchinson because he performed brilliant. He was dominant, weren't he? And he nearly dropped Richards as well.
And they're talking about Buatsi, aren't they, next? It's been ordered, hasn't it?
Well, it has, yeah. I mean, when you look at that fight, you look at it and think, surely he's not ready for Buatsi. But like when you look at Craig Richards, he give Bivol a good fight. You look at it and think, like, really, maybe it's worth a chance for Willie Hutchinson. Maybe he'll perform out of his skin in that one. You just never know.
Well, it could be a case of him getting better, Daz. Right? He might be getting better and better and better, Hutchinson. You don't know you don't know how good his potential is.
Well, that's it. I mean, to have someone like Craig Richards on your record, a unanimous decision, and how dominant he was, it's only onwards and upwards for him. But I will give him massive props for the way he performed, because that's probably, apart from obviously, with the stoppages on the other fights, that's the most dominant fight of regards to the points victory on the card. He was just truly dominant, weren't he?
Craig Richards, would you hang your gloves up if you're in the Richards camp? Maybe a bit early to say that, to be fair.
Probably a bit early. I mean, there's still, like, I would say, some domestic level fights he can step in the ring for, maybe some up and comers. But let's be honest, like, where he wanted to be, like, sort of on the fringes of the world stage and that, we got to be honest, he doesn't look like he's got a lot left.
Yeah, he could almost become a gatekeeper, couldn't he, for that division?
Possibly, like a Chisora in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Andy, I'll check the Wi-Fi. Are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back with you, mate. Who have you got to? Who are you talking about?
So we're on to Richards now versus Hutchinson.
Very disappointing. very disappointing with Craig Richards. I think a lot of us thought that Craig Richards was going to win that fight. Hutchinson's probably come of age, though, Carl. I think he had a lot more than we expected him to be having. He was very confident going into it, right?
Yeah.
He obviously believed in himself, believed what he was capable of doing. Very interesting what could be happening for him next, but I'll wait to say that until we talk about the yard situation later on, because it kind of will connect.
It looks like Buatsi next. He's been ordered, hasn't it? It's been ordered.
Yeah. So and that's obviously because of what's happened with yard. But like I say, we'll talk about the yard situation in a bit. But yeah, it's Hutchinson's got himself into a really good position in that light heavyweight division, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, his career best performance, right? By some distance. So
absolutely, mate.
Put himself in the shop window now, and he'll probably earn a lot of dough from his next couple of fights, and so he should.
Yeah.
So let's move on to
who have we talked about? Have you only talked about Nick Ball and Hutchinson?
What I thought
Richards, right?
Would work our way up the card in the order they fought in. It'd be a lot simpler.
Right. Well, you might have to talk your way through that then, mate, because I'm not sure how that played out. Was it Hamza Shiraz next?
It was, yes, against Austin Williams. Yeah.
Okay. Again, this was one of them fights, mate, that a few people were a bit unsure. I think a lot of us called that the Shiraz may stop Amo Williams in later on in the fight, but Shiraz is looking really, really, really strong in this division. I mean, there's a number of fighters that he could be going for now. I mean, this was for the WBC silver title, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So the obvious route would be the WBC champion, which I believe is Carlos Adams. Is that right?
Yeah, not the biggest name over in UK shores, is it?
No, but it's probably because of that. It's probably the easiest fight to make.
Yeah, I think Hamza Shiraz is in a great position in terms of marketability as well, because there's a lot of noise. Well, when I say a lot of noise, more noise than other fighters through him during the night. In I'll be honest, I know Eddie Hearn and Frank want to come out and defended the atmosphere, but I don't want to just talk about the atmosphere. The numbers in the stadium looked very disappointing as well. But it was clear that Hamza Shiraz has a lot of support over in that part of the world, and I think that's going to do him the world of good from a financial perspective as well. So I thought it was a very good performance. I think Hamza Shiraz learned a lot about himself in this fight. I'll be honest, because he didn't just walk through Williams, and he had a few moments during the fight where questions were asked of him. But inevitably, it was too big. And whatever he hangs around this way with the size he is, he's going to cause a lot of people a lot of problems. So I think Williams comes again. I still think he's a quality fighter. I just think he come up against what could quite possibly be an elite fighter.
Yeah.
What's your opinion, Darren?
Well, I actually pre-fight, I actually backed Hamza Williams to win on points. I did think he was going to sort of go that way as long as the fight went on. I mean, obviously he dropped Amo Williams and then obviously he stopped on his feet. But I do, not that it was a harsh stoppage, but I do wonder whether the ref could have given him a little bit more time. I don't know if it was a stoppage from me really. But Hamza Shiraz was a brilliant performance, and like you say, the height definitely played a big factor, and he does look a real top fighter. The only doubt for me sometimes is he's a little bit open to a shot, and he looks like he can take one on the whiskers, but obviously as the more and more he steps up, that was a good level he fought at, but obviously he's going to go a bit higher. He's got to probably tuck up a little bit more the defence, because in the first couple of rounds he looked a bit open, but he did warm into his task.
And he fights very tall, don't he? I know that sounds ridiculous, but he fights, but there's a lot of body to it there, isn't there?
Yeah, and he stands up straight, and he's a little bit flat-footed at times. But But, you know, he does look a very, very good fighter, and he's got some power as well. But I think the height's a big factor for him. But interested to see where he goes now. Like,
it's quite a look. Sorry, Darren. He's quite a lucky boy, mate. He's quite a lucky boy because it's a very poor division.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wants Eubank Jr. next, doesn't he? I mean, that's the money fight, isn't it, really? I mean, for me now, Eubank Jr., Hamza Shiraz will destroy you.
I think that'll happen. I think he'll sign with Matchroom for a one-fight deal on the Wembley card, and that'll happen on the Wembley card. Is my prediction.
I think we could see that on the Wembley card. I mean, obviously, it's the British fighters that want on the cards. But for me, do you see Eubank Jr. cause him any problems?
No.
Nor me.
No.
But it'd be a fight that'll be built up, be hyped up. We'll all be interested to see what happens. But I think Hamza Shiraz dominates that fight.
Does anybody give him problems at that weight at the minute, Daz? Probably not.
No, not for me, really. Like I say, it's just the only vulnerability I see for him is he can get hit. And he looks like he can take a shot okay, but like, you know, if he comes up like a real big puncher, you just don't know. But he looks a top fighter to me.
I know I shouldn't keep banging on about this, but Bradley Skeet did unearth quite a few vulnerabilities. So, if he jumped in with a fighter with plenty of experience, he could, who can old man him or something like that. You never know, but he's a brilliant fighter. He's a real conundrum, isn't he? You need to work him out. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Carl, I think he's moved on a lot. I think he's moved on a lot since that Bradley Skeet fight. I think he's improved a lot as a fighter since then.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying, but there's still vulnerabilities there, and I think an experienced fighter. I'm not even saying they'll beat him, but they may give him a hard night's work. Is that Chris Eubank Jr.? Probably not, but there is some dark arts that you can use, to negate that high. And I just think he just needs to keep winning, Hamza Shiraz, and I don't see anyone who can stop him with them long levers and the power.
I'll tell you what though, like one thing you say, when he lets his hands go, he doesn't waste much. He's very, very accurate with his shots. No. He doesn't waste much at all.
But you don't have to look for him either, Daz. So if there's a puncher somewhere in that division who's got a puncher's chance, he could get caught.
Yeah, because he's a bit. I mean, obviously he's tall anyway, but he's a bit too straight and upright.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's a little bit flat-footed for me. Sometimes, but let's see. Interesting for the future. Very
interesting. So then we move on to the big boys. So Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgović. So, Andy, is this one that you've seen?
Yeah, I've seen highlights of it, mate. Well, I mean, I think from what I saw, it was a very interesting fight. Fight of probably two halves, really. It looked like Hrgović was landing some big shots early on, and we've seen Daniel Dubois fold under pressure in fights in the past. Looks to me like that's gone out of his game now. He looks like a much more solid fighter that believes in himself a bit more. He was getting hit by these shots, but he was taking them fairly well. And then obviously, he got into the fight himself, and he was landing massive bombs. Now, I couldn't see from the highlights I looked at, Carl. I couldn't see how bad that cut was. Did it deserve stopping?
I thought it was an okay stoppage, to be honest with you. Yeah, I thought it was an okay. Nobody was screaming blue murder, were they, at the ringside and everything like that. So I suggested it was probably a good stoppage.
So obviously, Darren, that kind of sets up a gigantic fight in September at Wembley. Daniel Dubois already came out with the first firing shot. Says he's going to absolutely batter AJ. What's your first reaction to that?
I'm not going to write Daniel Dubois off anymore. I don't think I've written him off the last twice, and he's won them both. So for me, like the Hrgović fight, he sort of felt comfortable standing in front of Hrgović and letting his shots go. Would he stand like that in front of Anthony Joshua? Time will tell. Who knows? But Hrgović, for me as well, sometimes I'm not taking anything away from Daniel Dubois because fair play to him. He's proved me totally wrong, and I'm really pleased he's going to get his big shot. But Hrgovic, for me, a little bit. He lets himself go in a fight. He gets lazy. He dwindles off. He gets as though he ain't interested. He looks half asleep. Not
Dad,
that
don't jump in, Dad. I think it's a scenario with a very, very good amateur, which it hasn't transferred over into the pros.
Yeah,
that's my honest opinion.
He looks sluggish, doesn't he?
Yeah. He lost against Zhang as well, in my view.
Yeah, he did. He did for me as well. But Hrgovic, for me, he looks like he's okay for a few rounds. Then he gets sluggish. Then he's like wants a round off. Then he's willing to take shots. I just don't know what to think of Hrgovic. Has it flattered Daniel Dubois? Who knows? But I agree with you, Andy. The one thing you can say is he looks like he's got a newfound confidence, and he was willing to stand in front of Hrgovic.
You know where I give credit to that for? Don Charles. What a job
100%.
Don Charles has done.
Yeah, 100%. He's given him a new...
Well, I do, but people laud it about the Messiah that is Shane McGuigan and all this lot. But maybe we ought to give props to Don Charles as well. He's not a fashionable trainer, let's be honest. You know, he's not a fashionable trainer, but he's well renowned within the game for supporting fighters mentally. Dubois never needed anything physically. He was always a specimen, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but
true.
It looks like now he stood in front of Hrgovic. Let's have it right. Felt his power. He got caught with some good shots, and he had the mental ability to be able to handle that power and almost walk through Hrgovic. He beat him up in the end, really.
Yeah.
He beat him up, who's supposedly top 5-6 heavyweight in the world. So, very intriguing is Daniel Dubois versus AJ. We still don't truly know what AJ's got left because he's not been in an active fight.
Yeah, that's I made this point to someone the other day. That's the thing for Anthony Joshua now going forward against Daniel Dubois. If it is, he's looking, if the IBF's vacant, it will be Daniel Dubois.
The IBF's not going to be vacant, by the way, mate. No, it's been ruled as I said it was going to, and everybody laughed at me. People on Twitter, I've not replied to that fool that says I know nothing about boxing, but I've been proved right. The IBF have come to the senses and realised that it's unfair to strip Usyk of that belt straight away. It's just not right.
When have they made that decision?
Last week.
I've read it.
No, there's still a decision to come. Eddie Hearn said that yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're still reviewing.
Oh, really?
So it's not,
yeah, they're still reviewing.
Not done yet.
No, what it is, they're still reviewing it because Eddie Hearn said if the IBF is vacant, it will highly likely be Daniel Dubois. But if it isn't, it could be Joseph Parker or Zhang. So they're waiting on a decision for that. But if it is Daniel Dubois against AJ, for me, that's the key thing with AJ. He hasn't really been in with, like, he's had Wallin, who was a non-puncher, to put it bluntly, and then you had Ngannou, who wasn't a boxer.
He hasn't been in a crisis, has he, Dad? He hasn't been in a crisis.
He hasn't been in a war, which, to be honest, everyone expecting Dubois and Joshua to go 6 rounds, it's going to be whoever lands first, or it could be a war. They're both probably a bit suspect at times when they get hit. So it's going to be one of them fights. So even though people are wondering about how Dubois will take things, you've also got to ask, well, how will Joshua take things?
There's a lot of miles on that AJ clock. A lot of miles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Orkan, how you doing?
I'm all good, thank you.
Good to see you, fella. So we just.
Thank you. I have a day off. It's holiday here in Sweden today.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're talking about the Dubois versus Hrgovic fight then, Orkan. So give us your views on the fight.
I had Hrgovic to win the fight on a late stoppage on my prediction, and I got completely wrong with the prediction for this fight. And I was surprised with Dubois, what he did to Hrgovic. And I was very happy for Dubois that that he won the fight, and there have been a lot of talk on social media that he has quit a couple of times. So he came back strong in this fight. So I was very impressed by Dubois.
And you've heard us all talking about what happens if he jumps in with AJ. How do you think that plays out, Orkan, if he jumps in with AJ?
I think that the fight will only happen if the IBF belt will be on the line. So, but I have said on Joel's show last night that I believe AJ is too big and too strong for Dubois.
What happens if AJ takes one on the whiskers?
Sorry.
What happens if AJ's not been caught clean yet in any of his fights since his new regime, new trainer?
Yeah.
What do you think happens next time AJ's in a crisis in the ring? So next time he's in with an active opponent who puts it on him, do you think he's going to have more resilience? Do you think he'll be able to handle it? Or do you think he folds like he did against Usyk?
I'm pretty much unsure what will happen. AJ hasn't been tested, if I'm honest, after the Usyk fights. He hasn't been in a war.
No.
But I think that Dubois is Joshua is too big and too strong for Dubois, but I could be wrong.
And I'm assuming, Orkan, that's September the 21st card at Wembley, which is the worst kept secret in boxing at the minute. I'm assuming you'll be getting your air miles and your flight tickets and hotel tickets and coming over for that one.
No, I will have a breather for quite a long time to the UK, and price for hotels in London is ridiculous. So that's I will not go to that one, and I just want to have great seats, and those seats are not affordable. Yes.
Okay.
So my next UK will be in up north again. September to November time.
You sound like a local, Orkan. Up north. Sound like a
Yes. So that's a possibility that I will go to the next Dalton Smith card.
Okay. Let's move on to the main event then. So Zilizang versus Deontay Wilder, another one that I got wrong. So I'll come to Darren first on this one. So Darren, give us your breakdown, your thoughts.
Well, this was my final fight of my clean sweep of defeats, to be honest with you. I had Wilder to stop Zhang, but I did think it would be a case of who lands first. But old gun-shy Wilder come out, pretty much how he did against Joseph Parker, and done nothing. Done nothing. Landed a couple of clean shots, sort of like got the attention of Zhang. Didn't really follow it up as such, and then got caught, clipped on the whiskers, done a spinneroonie, and got absolutely sparked. Then he by Zhang, but
I don't endorse gambling, Daz, but this one cost me a few quid. You have never heard me shout at a TV, let your right hand go as much as I shout. I mean, the wife must have been wondering what I'm talking about.
Well, the thing that he's done, he's got no heart, he's got no malice left, has he?
No, he hasn't.
He's not the Wilder we know. He's gun shy. He's just. I mean, we always knew he was a little bit chinny. I mean, fair play. He actually got up quite well from the shot. I didn't think he'd make it up at all for a good minute or two, but he did. But it was a great knockout by Zhang. Zhang, for me, fought how we know he can fight. There was nothing different. He's a big puncher. He walks forward in straight lines, not a lot of head movement, but he's willing to trade and have a tear up with you.
Yeah,
but for me now, like the talk of Wilder, hanging him up, I think he should. I think he's done.
Yeah. Jack, good evening.
Evening. I've only got a little bit of time, and then I've got to take the mutt out because I was about to, and then looked
No
out.
problem. So with you being stuck for time, let's jump to you first. So what were your thoughts on Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang?
I was like you. I thought Wilder would win it, and I also was screaming at him, "Let the right hand go." When you've only got one trick and you've only had one trick your entire career, when you don't actually pull that trick, you've got a lot of questions.
The thing is, right? It was there though, wasn't it? It was there.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I don't think we learned anything new about Zhang in this fight. If I'm honest with you, I still think he's got the vulnerabilities that Parker exposed.
Yeah, movement kills him.
It was just that Wilder just couldn't detonate that right hand. He didn't even throw it.
Yeah.
So,
I don't agree with Daz about the heart thing. I think Wilder had heart during the fight. He just didn't. He just looked nervous.
Yeah, heart's probably the wrong word.
It was almost like he was afraid to get hit on the chin himself.
I'd use the word intention.
Yeah, that's probably a better word for it. He lacked intention, and I think we saw the human side of Deontay Wilder in the ring rather than the whole bronze bomber thing.
Yeah, that's gone. Okay. The bronze bomber's gone, hasn't it?
That's gone, and that's done.
And like you say, just quickly, if that, like we all know, he was the one-trick pony. If that has gone, there's nothing left, is there? So there's no point for me anymore with him.
No. So I'll just bring Andy in. So Andy, I'm assuming you've watched this live, didn't you? You said you got back.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So obviously I got it wrong as well. I assumed that Eddie Hearn had pulled a master stroke here, and Wilder had got one last big shot in him. And I agree with all of you. Zhang was wide open for that big right hand all night long. But quite clearly, those three fights with Tyson Fury have taken way too much out of Deontay Wilder. Getting knocked out in that third fight against Tyson Fury has switched something in Wilder's head. Something that he can't turn back.
That's my
No, it's not that, Carl. It's not that. It's not that. He's just lost. He's lost that killer edge because he got knocked spark out by Fury in that third fight.
Which fight was it that said it's difficult to stay motivated when you're running in silk jammers or something on them?
That was no. It was Marvin Hagler.
Hagler said it. Yeah, sorry.
What's happened with Wilder?
It was Marvin Hagler. I'm not sure, Carl, because he showed so much spirit in that third fight against Fury, but the killer blow for me where he got knocked at cold, that sometimes with fighters, it makes them or breaks them, and I think it's broke Wilder. Because he's like Darren said, he's now scared to throw his only trick. We've always known he can't box. No. We've always known that he's got the big shot, one of the biggest in boxing. But now that's gone, the guy needs to hang his gloves up because otherwise he could end up getting really badly hurt.
Yeah. Well, when you look at it as well, when he does throw that one trick, he's scared of getting countered, and most of the time now he's getting countered.
Whenever you know a fighter to have so much confidence, like Zhilei Zhang did in walking Wilder down.
I know, yeah.
Fury, really, wasn't it? Fury only, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me just bring Orkan in. So Orkan, what were your thoughts on the fight?
I was completely wrong with my prediction for this one. Also, I thought that Wilder had won when Eddie Hearn and Matchroom put him as the captain. I thought that Wilder had something left. and that Matchroom wanted to have him for the next one if he beat Chang. So that was my prediction. But to be honest, Wilder is done now.
By all accounts, that's why AJ was ringside, because I was going to announce the Wilder AJ fight, wasn't it, that night in the ring, supposedly.
Yeah.
If he'd have won. So interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the any other card before Orkan? Any other comments, Jack? Any other comments on the 5 versus 5?
Only one, which is congratulations, Nick Ball, finally. Because I think it's one fight later than he should have been world champion, but
Agreed.
Yeah.
he is world champion, and he probably won that. That one was probably closer than the one he didn't get.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've rated him for a long time, and I think I've mentioned it on this show. So
Jack,
I just wanted to get that in.
You know, as a matchmaker, do you run that one back, Jack?
I don't, only because I don't think Ray Ford can make 126 much longer.
What about, he's talking about dragging Nick Ball up to Super Feather, though, isn't it?
If they went up to Super Feather, I think the ball's in Nick Ball's court. If he wants to go up to Super Feather and fight him, I'd make the fight. But I don't see what's in it for Nick Ball to do that.
No.
He's already world champion.
Yeah. And what about just get your take on Willie Hutchinson versus Craig Richards? Was it a case, Jack? Was it a case of Willie Hutchinson being better than we thought he was, or did Craig Richards have a poor night?
A bit of both. I thought Craig Richards looked very rusty for me. I don't think he's been active enough. Really, and Hutchinson's not been overly active, I'll be honest, but like I thought Hutchinson's the Hutchinson we all expected before he lost, but I do think Craig Richards wasn't the best version of Craig Richards, and he's one that, where does he go from here?
Yeah.
He might be another one that it might be time to say thanks, but you've had a good career.
And I'm going to do a quick round robin here, because obviously it looks like Hutchinson's going to fight Buatsi next. I know we're going to come on to y'all, but quick round robin. Who wins that fight? I'll come to you first, Daz. Who wins it?
Oh, it's a tough one. Buatsi.
Under?
On points.
Oh, sorry, Daz, go on. On points.
Points, Buatsi.
Under?
Yeah, Buatsi's too good a boxer. Buatsi wide points.
Orkan?
Buatsi wide points.
Jack?
Buatsi, but a split decision.
Split
Because
decision.
it's very close.
I'm going late stoppage for Buatsi. I think he'll stop him late. I think he'll be a little bit one-sided for me. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic then, guys. So, they're both good topics. Which one I'm going to go for first? Let's go for this one. So you all know our rate, Jared Anderson. I've spoken about it a lot. What a great fighter.
Oh, I like this fight.
At last, we're going to see what he's made of due to him jumping in with Martin Bacola. I can see Dog's very excited about it as well, Jack. So let's break this one down then. So, Orkan, I'm going to come to you first. So, who wins and how, Orkan?
First, I'm glad for Martin Bacola that he got his big chance.
Agreed.
He has been waiting a long time for a fight. And the boxer hasn't done anything since he signed for boxer. So that I'm glad for for Bacola and his team. And for the fight, it's a great fight. I hope that I'm Team Bacola for this fight, but I'm very unsure about how the fight will finish, to be honest. So, but I haven't seen so much of Jared Anderson, And the reasons for that all top ranked shows is not on here.
Right.
So that's the reason why I'm unsure about the fight, that I haven't seen Jared Anderson enough.
Yeah. I'll come to you next, Jack. And there's a bit of a caveat to this. So break down how the fight goes and who wins, but also what a great opportunity for the winner of this, bearing in mind it's on a Riyadh card in America. What doors this can open if they win with Turkey Al Sheikh could be massive, right? Could be life-changing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't strike me as that surprising if the winner of this ends up being, because they're talking about doing an event in Beijing with Zhang, sponsored by Riyadh. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if the winner of this ends up fighting Zhang.
Yeah. Talk about the
for me, I think it's a very interesting fight because I don't think we've really seen the best of either of them before. I know, obviously, Bacoli had that one Hunter fight, but that was a long time ago. Other than that, I'm not really sure who we've seen either of them fight. And so it's a close fight. I think Bacoli will edge it, but I wouldn't argue with the people who say Anderson will edge it because we haven't seen enough of either of them to be 100% sure on anything.
The reason why we've not seen anything of Bacoli, if you listen to Billy Nelson, is because nobody wants to jump in with him, right? I'm not sure about how true that is.
I've spoken to people at Boxer, and there's certain names, one of which we've already mentioned tonight, who definitely didn't want to jump in with Bacoli. And the fight was offered to them.
Right. So if you had your last pound in your pocket, Jack, who would you put it on to win this?
Probably Bacoli.
What method?
I would go with a very late stoppage. Like, we're talking last round late.
Okay. I'll come to Andy next.
So it's a very intriguing fight for a lot of reasons that Jack's already said. Jared Anderson's 17-0 with 15 KOs, but he's fought absolutely nobody. He's being built up as the next big hope in America in the heavyweight division, but they're protecting him that badly that he's now in a position where he's actually fighting somebody that's really dangerous, and he's got no experience. The biggest win on his career is the best heavyweight that's ever lived in Charles Martin. And that fight, I don't know if you've seen that fight, guys. It was absolutely dreadful. It was dreadful.
Yeah,
I mean,
I watched that.
Jared Anderson made Charles Martin look good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
that's how bad he was. So, and then you switch to the other side of the fight. Martin Bacoli's 20-1, only losing to Michael Hunter in a close fight. And there's been rumours for years and years and years that he beats everybody up in sparring. And maybe that's been his Achilles heel, that because of all the rumours, fighters that he hasn't sparred with, I just don't want to go near him because they're hearing all these stories. The other thing is, though, that when he does actually get a fight, I don't think he converts what's happening in sparring into a fight. Because the other name on his record, Tony Yoka, I mean, what's happened to Tony Yoka? You know, where's he gone since? And that fight with Tony Yoka was very close.
I know he stopped him in...
Nobody wanted Yoka when he jumped in with him, to be fair to Bacoli.
No, I agree, Carl. I agree. You know, Yoka had obviously got very, very good amateur pedigree and all that.
I disagree with you that nobody wanted to jump in with Yoka. Because, I mean, Dave Allen literally jumped in with Yoka, and he's levels below Bacoli. And he was
it was for a payday, though.
And he actually gave Yoka problems for the first 6 rounds, if you watch that fight.
I don't think the fight was close between Tony Yoka and Bacoli, if I'm honest. I don't think it was that close.
No, it wasn't, but...
The problem
suggested it was, but it weren't, really.
the problem you've got, and I think Bicoli's a very, very dangerous fighter. He hasn't had the backing he deserves, or given the chance, and it's probably because he's not an English fighter. Just because he's being trained by Bill Eyre up in Scotland, but there's no real backing for him, and I think it's because he's not an English or British fighter. He's probably not got a big fan base because of it as well, and that's what a lot of fights get built on. Promoters won't push if they don't think they can sell a crowd, and I think that's where Martin Bicoli is going to fall short in his career. He's probably going to end up never getting.
Who needs him club, right? He's in the Who Needs
Yeah, exactly that, Cole. He's probably never going to end up getting any world title shots or even interim title shots because of it.
I think this is the best route for him because it not necessarily matter to Turki Al-Sheikh whether he's got a big following or not. If he puts
that's right. Yeah, so, I agree.
I think this is probably best route to get some big fights.
He's going to have to be the away fighter, and that sounds ridiculous to somebody that's got a name that Bicoli has, but he has. For him to get into, I don't know, a top 10 in world rankings or a top 5 in world rankings and push for a mandatory spot, he's going to have to go to people's backyards and win away.
If he knocks Anderson out in style, Turki Al-Sheikh will back him and he'll get some big fights. Just like he has the likes of the current crop, who are not massive names, are there? But they keep getting pushed through the Riyadh cards.
Well, he likes the heavyweights, don't he, Carl?
He does, and there's,
Yeah.
like I say, if Bicoli can be exciting and spark Anderson out earlier, he puts himself in a very good position to get another payday.
Yeah.
He is already in a good position with a win as the number 1 WBA on the rankings.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he could be mandatory. He could be mandatory for the WBA title if or after the second Fury Usyk fight when the belts will be spread out.
Yeah. Go on, Dad. What was you going to say?
Can I just give my take on it? The Anderson Bicoli. For me, I know, like, we've heard all these stories about no one wants to fight Martin Bicoli. I mean, like you were saying about not a lot of people wanted to fight Yoka and Bicoli stepped up. Not a lot of people have wanted to fight Bicoli, and now Anderson's willing to fight him. So I think he deserves a lot of credit because, like you say, he hasn't really fought a lot of people at the moment.
Dad, let's have it right, though. Probably a career high payday, right? And probably a deal that he couldn't turn down.
Oh, of course, that helps. But, he's still willing to step in the ring with him. But there's also a thing for me, Martin Bicoli. From what I've seen him and who he's fought yet, I haven't been flattered by him yet. He looks at times, he's big puncher. He looks a bit sluggish to me at times. And I think he's sometimes a little bit out of condition as well.
Yeah.
Jared Anderson's obviously very in shape, fit. But Martin Bicoli, remember, has been stopped by Michael Hunter for all the rumours of sparring and people don't want to fight him. Michael Hunter did stop him. And he's not the biggest puncher, and there was excuses for why he was stopped. But Michael Hunter goes on his record, did stop Bicoli.
You do realise that was at Cruiser though, so you've got to bear in mind. We see the weight Bicoli comes in at now. He was making 14 stone 4 for that fight, so that could have had a large part to do with it.
That was a cruiserweight fight?
Yeah, that was at Cruiser.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise that was
Cruiser
cruiserweight then. I remember watching the fight, but I didn't realise that was Cruiser then.
Yeah, that was at Cruiser. So
okay.
that kind of is something, because I keep saying this to people, like, people forget Bicoli was a cruiserweight at first.
I forgot that was at cruiserweight, but I did watch the fight live.
People always do, but yeah, it is a thing.
Darren, you know how I draw parallels with Jared Anderson? I'm being deadly serious here, and this might come back to bite me. So if any of you want to press record,
go on.
This
Now the time to do it. I liken him to Jeff Left Hook Lacer, where the Americans were building him up, building him up. He's the next best thing to come out of America. He come over to the UK and got spanked by Cole Zagat.
No, hold on a minute. Hold on.
That's how
Hold on, Cole. Cole, hold on.
That's how bad
Jeff Lacey. Jeff Lacey was knocking people out for fun.
But so is this guy.
No, but on a different level, mate. Jeff Lacey was beating very good operators.
Lacey
Also-
was beating better operators
what
than
I'm
Anderson's
bit
team.
to is the Americans getting all excited about him being the next big thing. He's going to dominate the heavyweight division if you listen to American fight fans. And I've been hammered by him on Twitter, and I hope they watch this. Because this will age well. This will age well. He's going to get knocked out against Picola. Because
I just hope he comes in like a god.
Jeff left up Lace.
But it ain't just the Americans hyping up. Who else said he's the next big thing? Tyson Fury said it. He said Jared Anderson was going to be the next big thing coming along.
He was cracking a tumor to be the next big thing.
No, I know he said it to Moses Taylor, but about a year and a half ago, he said Jared Anderson
was.
He did.
Well, even
Time.
And I'm going to make a prediction here, and you won't like this one, Carl. I think this is going to be Jared Anderson's coming of age fight, and I think he's going to beat Martin Bacola.
I'm gonna go and throw myself on my sword here, and the Americans are gonna absolutely flipping hate me for this. I've got a horrible feeling for the American boxing fans. This might be another Charles Martin moment.
I don't.
Came in with all the hype in the world, and leaves with the tail between his legs.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not saying he wouldn't. You know, he's already beaten Charles Martin, although he didn't look massively convincing, if I'm honest. But I've got a horrible feeling, just off everything, that might be what's about to happen.
Andy,
I think Anderson will win.
What's your prediction for Bacola? Bacola. What's your prediction for the fight against Jared Anderson?
I think Bacola needs to show what he's done for years and years and years in sparring. He needs to come in and he needs to beat this kid up. And we are talking about a big experience difference here. Even though there's only 3 out of 4 fights in the records, Bacola's got so much more experience. He'll old man Anderson in this fight. It probably won't stop him. I think it'll go to points, but he'll beat him up. And Anderson will go away with his tail between his legs and have another 36 fights in America fighting nobody, and probably get a world title shot or get given a world title at some point in his career. What you do need to remember though is he's only about 25, isn't he? 24, 25. He's got years.
He's got a lot of good heavyweights over here, haven't we?
Yeah, he's got years and years ahead of him. I mean, I agree with what Darren said. You've got to give the kid props for taking this fight because no one wants to fight Bacola.
Oh, give him. He's got balls. Like fair play to him. But
I think you've all
got doing it.
I think you've all got it wrong about him, Ida. I agree. Against Charles Martin, he was exposed a little bit and he was open and he took some shots. I mean, we know Charles Martin, like we say, he's nothing special. But I just think on this,
he's not as bad as AJ made him look.
No, and to be fair, the shot that AJ dropped him with, I thought he could have got up from, but he didn't. He chose to sit down and then get up on the 10.
I think he was shell shocked, to be honest. I don't think he.
Yeah, I do.
Get thingies. Yeah, I have actually watched Martin fight since that. He actually looks. He's better than that. Oh. He's not great, but he's better than that. I'm
not going to hype Martin up or anything, but
let's not rewrite history. Charles Martin.
Okay, guys, let's have it plain and simple. Charles Martin is the worst heavyweight champion of all time.
Yeah.
No, that honor goes to Trevor Bryan, but yeah.
No, but that won a proper world title, Jack. Come on.
I don't regard the super champion as a world champion because it's not the one with the history. So I'm Jack. Come on, Jack. No, it might not be the one with the history, mate, but it's the one that's been the historian, the boxing historian up here who says it, and I'm just going to go with that.
Jack, it doesn't matter, does it? Because at the end of the day, the one that's being held by the undisputed champion is the super title. It doesn't matter about the WBA.
He holds the regular title though. So what's your point? He holds both.
Yeah,
So
but he
your
didn't, did
argument
he?
falls down on that.
No, I don't. He doesn't. No, he doesn't, because he
It does.
didn't, did he?
It does, because the WBC do not allow a unification with the super title. They only allow it with the regular title, because the super title is their version of is what they're saying is the WBA version of the franchise. It's in their
The
rules.
regular title is being disbanded in all of the divisions, one by one. You've seen it in every
They're being
division, one by one.
amalgamated, though. They're not being disbanded, so they won't ever strip the regular champion. It's why if the whole reason it was created was for Vladimir Klitschko. It was basically the super title in the heavyweight division was basically created for Vladimir Klitschko because they wanted a way to get him a WBA belt, but they couldn't strip David Haye to give him it, so they gave him a WBA super title.
Jack, I get all this. I know boxing history. You don't need to give me a lesson, mate.
The historians wouldn't regard the super champion as anything more than a franchise champion.
Lennox Lewis was a regular champion. I know all this, mate. You don't need to try and teach me anything. But what I will say is this: that how can you give any credibility to a belt that gets fought for in a university arena that's leaking?
Oh no, I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm saying the worst heavyweight champion in history for me, and will always be for me, will be Trevor Bryan, and he was involved in that fight. So that goes to prove my point.
But the problem you've got right is Charles Martin never even won the title. He was handed it.
Yeah, Glasgow's knee blew out, didn't it?
Yeah, did you?
In the fight. Yeah, I'll give you that. At least
he was handed the title. He never won, and then he got his ass spanked in about 3 seconds in the next fight.
And Eddie paid a lot of money to make sure AJ got that fight in London as well. Let's not.
Of course, mate. Absolutely, mate.
Well, let's be honest. There is zero chance that anybody was backing Charles Martin with enough money to get that fight in America, was there?
No. So let's move on to last topic of the night. And Jack, you might have a view on this, being an insider.
Oh, you're gonna. Yeah, okay. Right, I'll tell you this before I take the dog out.
Go on then.
I don't think anyone actually knows the full story, but whatever's gone on. So Yard's saying he doesn't have a contract, he's a free agent. Warren's saying he's not. What's probably happened is there's probably two, and I'm guessing, by the way, this is completely a guess. I haven't asked anyone from Queensbury. I wouldn't bring that up with them. I like my to keep breathing. Anyway, my guess would be that he's probably got something on there with an optional fight. Queensbury are using it. Yard doesn't want to fight it, and that's where this has probably come from. The whole thing with Tunde and Warren going back and forth is pointless. They may as well just go through lawyers at this point.
I'll say this, Jack. I think Tunde does Yard no favours whatsoever, be it inside the ring or outside the ring. Honestly,
I agree with you.
If you head into court like this will inevitably do, because that's what Warren does.
Yes.
Tunde needs to keep his mouth shut because, he's doing his fighting no favours.
Well, I agree with you. You're preaching to the converted with the whole Tunde thing, because I've met him. He's a nice enough guy, but sometimes he doesn't think before he speaks. It's like, don't say that, because now if it does go to court, like you say, he's handed Warren a loaded gun.
And also, Jack, from a matchmaking perspective and boxing manager's perspective, and I'll come on to the rest after this, I think strategically it is absolute madness for him to be leaving Warren at the minute when you think about his links with Turkey Al Sheikh in the Riyadh season.
Yeah.
He's going to lose a lot of money.
Well, yeah, because he is, and because the only other person who's really got any sort of like consistent links with them is Matchroom, and they're not going to sign a guy who's just left Warren when their relationship's just been patched up.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, it's a very strange career move, and also having to pull out of the WBO purse bids over it. What's all that about? Like, you've basically given up, because I think we're all under the impression after Bivol Beterbiev that the belts aren't staying together, are they?
No.
So let's just say Bivol wins or Beterbiev wins. They're probably going to get upgraded to the world title.
Let's not talk silly. You mean Bivol?
Yeah, that's my opinion as well. So I'm not even gonna question that. But like, so Bivol wins, the belts fragment, right? Whoever's the interim champion is going to get upgraded, so they're going to be world champion. Whoever, effectively, you would have been fighting Buatsi for the world title.
Yeah,
it's mental. Like, I don't understand your logic. If I'm managing that fighter, even if the fighter personally hates Frank Warren, I'm saying, look, just keep your mouth shut and we can be world champion and walk away with the world title here.
Yeah, and he's not active enough as it is there? But I'll move on, Jack.
Right, so, I'm going to go and take my dog out.
Cheers, Jack. Cheers. I'll come on to Daz next. So, Daz, give us your views on what the hell's going off.
Well, like you said, you've got Anthony Yard now, who's sort of like basically saying, I'm walking away from the #1 promoter at the current time. Utter madness, really. But the thing is, I think like Anthony Yard, obviously no one knows the ins and outs of everything, but Anthony Yard got the Lyndon Arthur fight, the Kovalev fight, the Beterbiev fight. Frank Warren got him all them fights. Yeah. He needs to take a long, hard look at who got him these fights. And whatever clauses there is or whatever, Anthony Yard went on Twitter saying about, I've left Queensbury, but I'm open to sort of like negotiate fights in the future because I'm a free agent. And then Frank Warren saying, well, we believe that he hasn't, there's clauses where like he's still with us. Can you honestly see, with all his years of experience, Frank Warren hasn't got the absolute bee's knees on this going, well, he's wrong. I cannot see Frank Warren being wrong. I just can't. Maybe I'll hold my hands up in the end and say, I'm shocked he had got it wrong, but I just cannot see Anthony Yard being right and Frank Warren being wrong. But he needs to, it's mad, like you say, links to Turkey Al Sheikh. Frank Warren's now best buddies with Eddie Earn at Matchroom. And Anthony Yard suddenly decides to go, I'm going to be a free agent. Utter madness in my eyes. Don't get it at all.
And
there's obviously two sides to every story. We're only hearing really Frank Warren's side because of interviews he's done. But I have an opinion. I don't know the facts, but I have an opinion on what I'm hearing so far. And that is that this is absolute career suicide for Anthony Yard. He's been given. He needs to remember where he's come from and who's given him, like Darren has just said, who's given him what he's been handed in his career so far. He's been given 2 world title shots. Yeah, he's fell short on both of them, but even so, he was given those 2 world title shots. Now, I don't get is, for a number of years now, he's been calling out Joshua, what's his name? He actually gets the fight. The fight gets ordered, and he doesn't respond. WBO, right?
Yeah.
To order the fight.
Yeah. Yes.
So the WBO, there's a time scale that the fighters have to respond to a fight like this being ordered.
And he
didn't respond.
Yeah.
He let it lapse. The WBO though, Carl, gave him an extension for him to make his mind up, and he still didn't answer.
Yeah.
What's going on? Who's? I mean, Tunde. If Tunde's his manager, right, which I believe he is, I don't know what he's saying to Anthony Yard here. How can at any point in this? How can any of this be any good for his career?
I've had it on very good authority, Andy, and I'm not going to. I've had it on very good authority that boxer is his likely next destination. Can you believe it?
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about that, Cole. He goes to boxer.
Let me use the word allegedly.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that stands up, don't it? Because there's no way, after what he's doing with Frank Warren, there's no way Matchroom will go near him with a barge pole. They just won't. Boxer's the only place he's going to go. But let's look at that, right? Who have Boxer got in their stable for him to fight?
What's it? Aziz.
Yeah.
Right. So he's just turned down the Buatsi fight. Why is he going to go to Boxer and fight Buatsi for loads less money? He was going to make his biggest career payday against Buatsi for this fight. Why has he turned that down? Why would you? It makes no sense. Why would you turn that down? Wait till you go to Boxer to fight him on a Boxer show and get paid loads less. Why would you do that?
And bear in mind as well, just quick, Andy, you were saying about what Frank Warren's done for him. He actually got Anthony Yard as the home fighter against Beterbiev.
I know, it's crazy.
It's madness.
It's crazy, mate.
We go in on Frank a lot, don't we, about his fighters having to go to different territories to get world title fights. Where I think he's honestly done a good job with Anthony Yard.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
He's picked him back up, gave him time to rebuild, paid him handsomely as far as we're concerned. So, who's in his ear? Someone's got to be in his ear.
Yeah, I know.
It can only be Tunde, can't it?
Yeah.
It's staggering. It's staggering.
I'm looking over at Boxer and Sky. If I'm sat on BT or TNT now with Frank Warren, why would I finish with Frank Warren and go over to a Boxer platform, which I'm brutally honest, from a fan perspective, is probably struggling. You look at the fight nights, they're not particularly great. You haven't particularly got a great stable. Yes, you have the odd good fight here and there, don't you? The Sellers Part 1's not a bad one.
Yeah.
If I'm sat at TNT and I've got Turkey Al Sheikh in my rear mirror, I'm thinking, well, if I have a few wins, especially Anthony Yard's profile, why would you? Even if Tunde came to me and says, "What about Boxer?" Blah blah blah. It'd have to be a damn good offer, right? It'd have to be a damn good offer that's on that table for me to go over to Boxer at the minute. With all due respect to Boxer, I still think Eddie Earn and DAZN, Frank Warren, TNT, not much between them two now, if I'm honest, you know. And then you've got your Boxer with GBM very closely coming up on the rails, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange decision. Someone must have be having a conversation with Anthony Yard, and all eyes are probably on Tunde, right? It's got to be.
Boxers seem to get fighters in on big contracts. I'm assuming they'll be telling them they can get them this, that, and the other. They only seem to get them fights against their own fighters. You don't see them getting world title shots against fighters from other stables.
Andy, I've raised this for a while, haven't I? I said many years ago that I was concerned whether Shalom can get big world title fights away from his stable over the line. He's not done it yet for me. He's not done it yet.
I tell you what. This is going to drag on and on and on and on. I'll be surprised if this is still not going on in a year's time, because it will get dragged through the courts. Anthony Yard won't fight for a year or two. And what's that doing for his career?
Well, like you say, career suicide, isn't it?
It's dreadful, mate.
Yeah. It's
dreadful.
I wonder where Boxer are as a promotional outfit stroke business. The Sky Sports contracts are up for renewal, I believe, end of the year. Have they done enough to warrant getting another contract? That's one for Sky executives to work out. I mean, we keep saying Ben Shalom's new to the game. He can't keep saying that now. He's had his bedding period. I mean, let's do a quick round robin. Darren, I put you in charge of Sky. You are now Mr. Sky Sports. Would you give Ben Shalom another contract? Do you think you're getting banned? Do you think the viewing figures are there? What's your gut feeling?
Well, first of all, I need to be careful because they ain't long let me back following them. They blocked me on Twitter. So, I don't think they're consistent enough. They've had some decent shows as of late. This year's probably been one of the better years for shows. But when you look at like what we used to get with Eddie Earn on Matchroom,
different budgets though. To be fair to Ben Shalom, we're balanced on this show. Probably Eddie Hearn had more money to play with under Barney Franson's regime than Ben has.
Yeah, fair dues. Yeah. I just I think it's touch and go. I'm going to sit on the fence. No. The thing is, to actually look at, obviously you got Eddie with his own, Frank with Queensbury, and TNT. Sorry. What's sort of else left for Sky to go if there's no Ben Shalom and Boxer, UK based? I don't feel like there's a lot that can change really.
He could adopt the model they adopted before Eddie Hearn had the monopoly, where they go
Multiple.
around. Yeah, multiple small old shows. You know, some good fights in the area level and that lot.
There is, but I think when you've got Sky Sports, obviously you attract sort of like the casuals as well in pubs and stuff.
But
so I think like
Dad, would you say that's the case? Fight night in, fight night out. I'm not so sure whether it's not just the boxing hardcore that are watching your fight nights at the minute on Sky.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at something like Willem Smith and React 4-2, like that's going to be a hardcore boxers card, I'd say, rather than a casuals. It's a tough one. I mean, I think they've done brilliant?
I judge it by my missus. She only watches the marquee fights. And I can't remember last time she sat down and watched a Sky Sports fight night with me. Yeah, when AJ jumped in the ring, when Fury jumped in the ring, and few other fighters, she'll sit and watch it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I just think Sky are in danger. I think they'll drop Boxer. I think they'll drop him. Is my view.
I don't think they've done. You know, when you look at like how long they've had now, do I think it's been absolutely brilliant content? No, I don't. But I think this is probably one of the better years with the fights they put on. But whether it's good enough, I don't know. I think it could have been a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. What about you, Andy?
I think it's a bit of.
You was quite a fan of Shalom when he first came in, weren't you?
I thought he was I thought he was refreshing. I kept on saying to you, give him a bit of time to bed in. He's had that bedding in time now, mate. And we're not seeing a massive improvement. We're seeing big fighters getting signed to the shows, but nothing really happens with them. They're not moving on quick enough for me. They're not getting big enough fights for me. And careers are stalling. There's exceptions. Tasha Jonas has, won 3 world titles under Boxer and Sky Sports. She never got that opportunity really elsewhere. So there is exceptions. But what I'll say is this: I think Sky will adopt an approach where they have more than one promotion company putting their shows on. I think Boxer will stay with them, but I also think GBM will come on board, and I think GBM will eventually take over. I'm telling you now, we've had chance to speak to the GBM team, to Ed Oncho, the Izzy, and he's very, very single-minded. He is going right to the very top, no matter what it takes.
And let me just clarify something, Ando. We have no agreement or no connection to GBM whatsoever.
Oh no. We've
no connection, just like with Matchroom, Queensbury, or Boxing.
No. We've just had the opportunity to go to a lot of GBM shows, and because of that, you end up having conversations with people. And I mean, we've got it on. We've interviewed Izzy a couple of times, and he says it on the interviews. He's not just a Sheffield promoter. He wants to promote all over the UK. And he's proving that. York Hall, Coventry, and he'll go further and farther. And he's getting bigger names constantly. Every show, he's getting bigger names on his shows. I'll be amazed if Sky have not noticed this. I'll be amazed if they haven't seen this and they're going, right, well, this is, we've got to have some of this, because the production on those shows, as Hawkan will tell you, it's TV worthy.
Yeah. Hawkan, coming to you from a foreign perspective.
Yeah, for me, I think the Boxer has come back good this year after last year. That was disappointing after the Smith Hubert Jr. fights. So I have attended 2 shows in Liverpool, Jonas and Mayer, great fight. And in London, Boazi Aziz fight. So I was very happy with both cards. And the card, Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley card was very good.
Yeah.
So for me, and the Sellers Park card coming up, for me, I will put a boxer along with Matchroom for UK cards so far this year.
Okay, interesting perspective. So that brings us to...
So I've been very disappointed with Matchroom. They had done. They will do their 3rd next gen show in 6 months. So I believe that Matchroom's UK show isn't that good that I expect.
Fair enough.
I agree.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Quick round of any other business. So, Darren, is there anything else you'd like to bring up before we bring the show to a close?
No, just some fights obviously coming forward, like who we've just been talking about. I'm looking forward to the Chris Billam-Smith Reactcore rematch from a few years ago. And then we've obviously got the Wembley card, hopefully in September. I think that's been announced end of June, is it? Something like that? We're going to get the announcement.
Yeah, press conference in London scheduled, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, like I was just going to say, like, it's not just Saudi boxing. Obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh's been putting on great fights for us in Saudi, but at least it's nice to be able to see, like, you know, we've got the big card coming up here at Wembley in September, but domestically as well, you know, like Eddie Earn's Matchroom showing locally where I live, Birmingham. That's a good Tyler Denny and Felix Cash. And then Frank Warren's Magnificent 7 as well coming up in July. So it's nice that it's not just Saudi. We've got some real good domestic shows and then a big one in September at Wembley as well.
Yeah, fully agree. Andy, anything from you?
No, nothing from me, mate.
Thank you. Orkan, anything from you before we close?
Yeah, with show coming up, some very good shows in the UK. So, especially in Birmingham. So, and I believe that Jack Catterall, their announcement soon for a Manchester show at the back end of August, and Dalton Smith card for September in Sheffield. So there are some few good shows in the UK coming up.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. So, Orkan, thank you very much for attending tonight. Much appreciated. Dad,
thank you.
Thanks for joining us, fella. Much appreciated. And thank you for joining. Sort the Wi-Fi out. Thank you for all the comments in the sidebar. This has been Last Ball Boxing, live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Proudly sponsored by LW Liftings and SC Travel. See you next week, guys. Take care.